Hoy voy a entrevistar a una leyenda. No importa cuántas veces lo haga, siempre entrevistar a alguien que admiro me pone nervioso. He ido muchas veces a la mole, pero hoy es distinto. Hoy voy a conocer a uno de mis héroes. Hoy estaré cara a cara con el creador de Sin City, 300, Dark Knight Returns, Year One, Electra, los mejores cómics de la historia de Daredevil. ¿Qué le preguntas a alguien así? Bueno, pues eso es lo que trataré de averiguar hoy.
¿Todo está corriendo? Sí.
¿Qué le inspiró cuando empezó a hacer cómics? ¿Y qué le inspira ahora?
Exactly the same thing inspires me now as what inspired me when I started. It's telling stories and cartooning. I was 5 years old when I told my mother I was going to be writing and drawing comic books for the rest of my life. She said, and I quote, "You can do anything you want to if you set your mind to it." Complete and total support from the beginning.
That's a great mom, right?
She was a great mom.
Ahora, en algunos cómics tiene aproximaciones a temas políticos,
Sure.
como en Martha Washington
Yes.
o hasta en Dark Knight Returns.
Oh, yes.
¿Tú crees que los temas políticos en el arte tienen un impacto en la vida real?
I think everything influences everything else, and I think that if you are of a political sort, where you think about politics a lot, and they work their way into your work, and they always have in comics. If you track comic books from the very beginning, like any other story form, you could just follow, for instance, the career of Superman from the beginnings when he was a mysterious figure from another planet, raised in a farm in Kansas with a very working class point of view about everything. And he was very much a President Roosevelt character. Were he in a political party, he would have doubtless been a Democrat. In his early war appearances, he would take generals from opposing sides and put them in no man's land between the forces, and tell the generals they had to sort things out. No one would call him a right-wing character then. He began to take on more of that aspect in the 70s and 80s when we had the Reagan era and the what I call the yuppie era that came from it. And now that America is in what I can only call confused times, it's a time for Superman to assert an identity that is as a cultural leader who stands for something.
Y ahora estás tomando el personaje en la historia de Year One. ¿Qué podemos esperar?
Yes. It starts at the beginning it starts well before Year One, because it does begin on Krypton, and moves to Kansas, and his childhood is a very big piece of the story, as the powers emerge and as he's taught the values he's taught by the Kent parents. And so we have someone with the powers that are almost belong to a god who is actually tamed and taught by people who really are of the earth. And as the story goes on, what really emerges, I don't want to say too much about it, is that it's a superhero comic and a romance comic. Superman's quite an appealing man, and there are many women in his past.
Hablando de Batman y los cómics que has escrito de él,
Batman, yes.
¿te reflejas a ti mismo en este personaje?
Let's put it this way. Superman's me in a good mood, Batman's me in a bad mood. But I don't have the abilities or powers of either one.
Y a través de los años, ¿tú crees que has evolucionado con el personaje? ¿Como en la misma manera?
We don't have dinner, and so on. But you evolve as a human being, and what you do in the work also affects you. So yeah, it's been with Batman in particular. It's been such a long relationship that the Batman that emerges from Dark Knight 3 is very, very different than the one who enters Dark Knight, the first Dark Knight.
¿Tienes una meta ahora que has regresado a DC Comics o simplemente lo haces por diversión?
Well, I do it for fun. I absolutely do it for fun. I do it to compete with some of the greatest, comic artists in history. And I guess my ulterior motive is Batman was not that popular character when I started to Dark Knight. And even though Superman sells more and all of that, he's just not hip enough. And I want to make him the coolest character around.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
¿Alguna vez estás cansado de que la gente te pregunte sobre Batman?
No. It's like he's like an old friend and an ongoing project at the same time.
Yeah.
Y quiero preguntarle, ¿usted todavía lee comic books?
Sure.
Y si sí, ¿cuáles?
That's hard to tell because mostly I've been reading stuff that I picked up in shows in other countries and stuff. But I really can't name them. I mean, I've still been reading old Alex Sinner books and that sort of thing. But mostly I've been focusing on whatever I can find that's devoted to history. The series they called the Goddamned, for instance, is a pretty amazing portrait of medieval times and
Está bien.
Yeah.
Ahora, para terminar, quiero hacer unas preguntas. Y debes contestarlo con lo primero que se te venga a la mente.
That's what I'm doing anyway.
Pero ahora será más rápido.
Okay.
Comic book favorito.
Oh boy, A Contract with God by Will Eisner.
Okay. Nice one.
Libro favorito.
Favorite book.
Favorite book? Favorite book, that would probably be Farewell, My Lovely by Wim Chandler.
Okay. Favorite
Película favorita.
High Noon.
Okay.
Canción favorita.
Favorite song?
Yeah.
Oh, something by Bob Dylan. I mean, it's a, let's just say It Ain't Me, Babe. It's just, I don't know. I mean, I can't think of anything else.
Personaje favorito.
Favorite character?
Yeah.
In what?
Personaje de cómic favorito.
Favorite character in comic books? What am I working on?
Bueno, veo una playera de Batman, así que quizás sea Batman, pero no sé.
I mean, my favorite character in comic books is Superman.
Yeah.
¿En serio?
That's kind of
Eso
weird,
es
right?
raro, ¿no?
Being known
Siendo conocido por escribir Batman.
And also for beating the living daylights out of Superman. Yeah.
Y ahora estás tratando de cambiar un poco eso con tu nuevo comic book de Superman.
Oh, you're gonna love Superman.
Y bueno, todos amamos a Superman, es un gran tipo. Y ahora, última pregunta. ¿Cuál es tu cosa favorita que has visto en México?
Everything I've seen?
Or
O
explore.
experimentado.
Well, it's the people, of course, but the food. Oh, food, yeah.
Hope you enjoy your visit here in Mexico.
I'm sure
Thank
I
you,
will.
sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. It's an honor.
Pleasure.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Now I'm gonna take you.
Oh, no, I'm keeping it.